middle children of history, man. No purpose or place. We have no Great War, no Great Depression. Our Great War is a spiritual war.
We got Chris on tonight, so I thought we'd use his intro tonight. We don't have Rob tonight.
I need to find my Chewbacca mask.
We are without Rob tonight. Rob has
colon blow. It's colon blow.
Yeah, he's having a number 3. If you've ever seen that movie, what is that movie? Home or whatever it is.
Oh,
with the alien. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah.
It was number 1 or 2. It was a number 3. Yeah, he's
it'd be interesting to find out what he's doing. I'd like to know his insight on all this stuff.
Yeah. Because we're going to go over tonight. We're going to go over Spain, Sueta, Spain, as I was corrected on how to pronounce it.
Oh, really? I always called it Cueta.
I did too. But it's Sueta. You got Hispanic family members, don't they know? I should know.
My wife says Cueta, so I don't know.
Does she? I heard it. So I was listening to Raymond Ibrahim earlier today, and he had a guy out there who's an attorney in Spain, and he kept pronouncing it Sueta.
I believe it. I mean, when we were in Portugal, the guy was just talking about different dialects, and he's like, yeah, in Spain, they're basically our cousins, and over here they say they speak Castilian. Over here they say they speak it. He's like, but we all know they just speak Spanish, so they didn't show up.
Yeah, so Rob got a hold of me earlier because he called me. Well, he texted me earlier today. He's like, "Hey, are we still doing the show tonight?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do the show." My wife's out of town. She took my oldest with her, and I got my 3 youngest with me tonight. I was like, I got nothing else to do. Let's just hang out. It'll be fun. And then he sends me a message halfway through the day. He's like, "Man, I ain't gonna make it." He goes, "It's gonna be really bad if I'm on the show tonight." So I didn't want to put him through that. We don't need any more taffy edits. So I already had Chris scheduled to come on tonight because Chris and I got into we didn't argue. We just saw different sides.
Yeah.
And we're what the main topic I want to talk about is if there is a draft, right? What are our options, right? And what even if legally your options, what else can you do outside of that? So we're gonna go over that as well. We're gonna go over Spain and everything that's going on in Spain right now. Because yesterday wasn't it. More summer coming over today.
Yeah.
So we'll go over that.
Quick ave for Coleman for his wife going into labor.
Who is?
One of the guys in the chat says his wife's going into labor right now.
Nice.
It's a quick ave.
Yeah, absolutely. In the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena Dominus tecum, benedicta tu mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Santa Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et hora mortis nostrae. Amen.
Awesome. Sorry.
That's all. And just so you know, if it's a boy, Adrian's a really good name.
Did you ever do that on call? I tell that to all the mothers I delivered.
Yeah, all the time.
I'd be like, hey, you know what? Christina or Christopher, it's a really amazing name.
I never had anybody take me up on it, though.
No.
Never. Not once.
Yeah. It'd be kind of creepy.
Just remember, the hardest job during labor is having to sleep on that couch they give the dads. It kind of extends out, and it's terrible.
And order pizza. I mean, come on.
God, it's so bad.
They're such whiners.
Linus, that's a good name.
That's a good name.
And then the next one's going to be Clement, and then Sixtus after that.
We had one of our officers was a pilot. His call sign was Linus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but more because he looked like Linus from Peanuts.
Oh, nice. Let's see who we got. We've got Steve's in here. Have we seen what was his name? What was that guy's name from last time? Schmoopy Loop. I guess kill me. Ocean's in. Ocean has been banished from AB apparently.
What?
No, he's not allowed. First he was going after Anthony on Tim Gordon's show, and then that pissed off Anthony. So then he started glazing Anthony on his
Dude,
show. That pissed
I
off
just learned what that meant. Like, someone said it in a class like a couple weeks ago. Like, some Zoomer said glaze. Like, what the heck is that? Like, and then yeah, whatever.
Glazing the glizzies.
I had to work with a Zoomer yesterday, and I learned a whole bunch of new things. I'm like, I'd rather not know that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, man.
Yeah.
I sent my wife one of these Instagram reels, and it was a dad going through a Taco Bell drive-through and using all this Gen Z lingo, right? And it like the daughter was super embarrassed.
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
But that's our job, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's exactly that's what I tell my daughter that all the time.
Wow, I love it.
If I'm not embarrassing you, I don't love you.
Yep.
I'm sure he's put me in one. Tavi's put me in a couple. Let me see if we still have them. Let's see if it's on here still. I don't know if it because when you're on this platform, there's a bunch of little videos you can add. I don't know. Well, one of them we can't show because it shows guns, so I know we can't do that.
Such a
I
bummer.
don't know. Yeah, it's so gay. I don't see it. Oh, we need to change our background before they get mad at me. There we go.
Uh-huh.
There we go. We'll do that one.
There you go.
So still had the AB up. So what? So Tuesday, I'm going to be on with Rob. I've got my friend Jason Craig coming on. I don't know if y'all know who Jason Craig is, but he started Fraternus. He also started the Sword and Spade magazine. He also runs a retreat center for fathers and sons called St. Joseph's Farm out in North Carolina. He's a funny dude, man.
That's awesome.
Him and I are gonna have a good time on Tuesday. Rob's gonna sit there like he usually does, but he'll be coming on. We're gonna talk about the Catholic culture and how we build it because it's a real big focus point for him. And we're gonna talk about Fraternus and raising boys and all that as well. Hawk, if you didn't know, Rob is on the toilet doing number 3, or has been all day. He is out of the fight at this point. So he's basically got dysentery. Could be an ant in the next happy video. Is it going Lord of the Rings or is it more Game of Thrones? It looks more Game of Thrones to me. It wasn't even Taco Bell. Apparently, they have a Taco John in Minnesota.
That's the same thing, right?
They used to be the same thing, right?
Right. I think one of the owners, the owners of Taco Bell bought. I only know this because of the fat electrician. Like, he got bought out, or sold out, but then they changed everything, and he got pissed, so he started Taco John's because they couldn't, because of the copyright, and but they say it's the same menu as it used to be. So I want my enchiladas back.
Enchiladas. I like the Chilitos. Those were my favorite, man.
Oh, I remember the Chilitos. Yeah, that was definitely. Yeah,
I loved them.
Definitely a guaranteed AOF after, but they were great.
Yeah. All right, let's see. I'm gonna. Where are we at? No. Trying to find. Nope, that's not what I want. Nope, that's not what I want. So I'm gonna bring up. So where is it? No, here, do this. Oh, maybe this will do it. Here we are. All right. So I want to show exactly where Ceuta, Spain is. Okay.
That's
so
my mom.
Yeah. So it's like
they're invading Spain. I'm like, Mom, there's a huge body of water between.
So it's really just a annexed portion of Morocco. Now it is Spanish land, and there's actually more further east down the coast. There's another one called
there's one more, right?
Yeah, Malaria or something like that, which they have the same issues over there. But so it's not like they swam the Strait of Gibraltar and then started invading. Like that's not something. They basically there's this little beachhead of Spain here, and the Moroccans and all the sub-Saharan Africans are crossing that area to get into, that little tiny portion of Spain. So when they say they're invading Spain, yes, technically they are, but it's not mainland Spain. So
Quetta is where Franco launched his campaign to retake Spain.
Yep.
From the commune.
Yep. So if y'all haven't seen what's going on, basically about 49,000, I believe, as of yesterday. More has gone across today. 49,000 Arabs, military age males, have crossed into Spain all at once. And keep in mind, the population of Ceuta is only 80,000. So the 50,000 of the 130,000 that are now there are Arabs. And so when you influx that many, hold on, let me pull up this. There we go. So when you influx that many, you have issues, right? Where are they going to sleep? You know, where, why is this not pulling up? Let me copy this real quick. But where are they going to sleep? Where are they going to stay? Where are they going to eat? So then obviously you're going to have issues of logistics and where all that's going to happen. So then we run into things like this. Pull this up real quick. All right. So there are rumors of them breaking into people's houses. There are rumors of them attacking people in their homes because they've got nowhere to go. They're that small little pinch of land at the northernmost tip of Morocco, pretty much, and they're influxing basically a 75% increase of population all in one day, and more have crossed today. Now, here the thing is, as well, is Spain called in the army, and so there are soldiers on the beach right now watching these men just go right past them, and they're not doing a thing. So Spain at this point, its government is capitulating. And
they're socialist government anyways. The communists took it over. So,
well, and if y'all aren't aware, about, I don't know, 4 months ago, maybe it was this year, the prime minister basically gave amnesty. He said it was going to be to 500,000 illegal immigrants in the country. He's going to give them amnesty and just give them citizenship. Okay. It actually turned out to be 1.2 million. And on top of that, they have, what is it called? A right of, I can't remember, where you can basically bring other family members over with you now. So that 1.2 is probably going to balloon up. You probably, I mean, if we go by the average Muslim family, probably 7 more, per, say average, say we just, conservatively say they'll bring over 3 to 4 more on average. You're looking at 5 million people.
Are they even going to vet them if they're the actual family too? It's like probably not.
Well, the issue with that is most Arab countries don't keep very good documentation. Mm-hmm. So there's no way to find that stuff out, which is, the issue we had when we went to Afghanistan. That's why we were doing biometrics on everybody, because they didn't keep records. So we had to use biometrics to identify people all the time, because there's no such thing as a.
You were a flock camera, Adrian?
I wasn't. We had a Marine for that. But they don't keep documentation. And even if they did, it's easily falsifiable. Right? They can make fraudulent papers all the time, which is why, especially down near your area, Chris, they're finding papers all along the border where people just discard it because they want to act like they don't have anything when they get in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, counterfeit stuff's like huge. Like, I remember watching some thing on the border, and this lady was coming across with literally 20 stacks of vehicle registration stickers that had been forged, to sell to immigrants and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I thought it was interesting in Portugal, all their little cop cars, at least in Lisbon, the biggest city, all had these like metal cages that were folded over their hood of their car to be able to fold up for like riot control and stuff. I'm like, interesting. They didn't have any other else place, but.
So here's our little urban adventure going on in Spain. So he's got a ladder and he's breaking into someone's home. Bro, I got these for days. I got all kinds of crap.
They're not allowed to have weapons. You know,
yeah,
maybe like knives.
They can't defend themselves.
I picked up some pocket knives at a souvenir store just to have something on me, you know.
Yeah. How'd that work?
It was fine. I actually they went through my checked luggage too afterwards. So, but I was surprised. But dude, like, someone asked about gun culture in Spain. I don't know how it is there, but it's almost non-existent in Portugal.
Really?
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's show another one here real quick. I hear my girls upstairs going crazy. They're loving dad being home. So this is out near a cemetery. Let me share it real quick. It's out near a cemetery, and they're throwing rocks at cops. And if you notice, like, you don't see any women, no children. This is nothing but military age males.
Yeah, I see the populace. I mean, they're a little different. I mean, even though they don't have like guns and stuff, like I think I posted that I was talking to one of my tour guides who was he was like in his late 50s, early 60s. He'd already done his like everybody has to do military service and stuff, you know, when they're younger. Or and they were saying him and a couple other people, like in the second biggest city in Porto, they had this huge influx, obviously, of like, I mean, they have tons of people from Mozambique, like all the colonies they used to have, Algeria, and then like a bunch from tons of Indians. Like that's the big problem with the Indians there. And they said, like, I don't know if it was this year or the year before, that there was a gang from India that had come over and were bringing in a lot of the drugs, and they were assaulting women on the streets and raping them and kidnapping them, and the cops and the government were doing nothing about it. And it was all over the news there, they said. So like the men actually got together and made a little group and tracked down where these guys lived, and they all went in and burnt the whole neighborhood down and beat the crap out of the guys. And he said ever since then it's literally been like peaceful. Like nobody messes around in Porto, you know.
Yeah.
And so I could see at least pockets of Spain doing that, you know.
You know, as that attorney that was on with Raven Ibrahim earlier, he was talking about how the south of Spain is much more conservative, much more Catholic than the north of Spain. Whereas during, you know, like the separatists and such, it was most of the Republicans were from the south at that time. And
because all the rural stuff was up in the main area. That's why Franco took that part first to be able to feed his army. And
so here's a mostly peaceful fire. So it's just it's like the summer of love over there right now. It's you know,
it'll be interesting though. I mean, again, like there are different people over there. You know, I think Spain and them, and we'll see. Like, you know how, but like again, like the government, the soldiers want to do stuff, but they have to follow orders. And if it comes down to it, the people hopefully do something about it. But at what point are they going to be able to when they're going to be outnumbered? You know?
Yeah. So this is all the Spaniards calling into work today. Man, I got to tell y'all guys, I got these for days. I found so many today. Here, I got another good one. Another good for you. Close this one. So I'm just seeing all the memes today have been amazing. Oop, nope. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
They're doing it. He's doing it on Thursday. He sent me the video today. I'm gonna look at it. But he's already done with it. Rob's got it done. He's knocked it out. He's excited. So he's gonna post it on Thursday.
Nice.
Don't put that evil on me. I don't work for that communist news network, even though I live an hour and a half away from it. Let's see where else. All right. I think that's all. Well, I mean, I guess I could show some of these videos of them crossing, but y'all have already seen all that. So anyway, what's going on in Spain, like Chris was saying, I'll agree. The Spanish are considered the most passionate of European Catholics. So what we're probably going to find is there is some Gen Alpha or younger Gen Z Spaniard who is seeing everything that's going on right now he's going to turn out way worse than Franco or Mussolini or anyone else, because we've gotten to the point now where, remember, and keep in mind, Franco, as dictatorial as he was, right, to fight against communists and retain rule, the communists still came back. So that tells us, in order to get rid of communists, we have to go way harder than Franco did. Because even after, what was it, 40, almost 50 years of rule, Franco, 40 years of rule, it was almost 80, right? So like 30,
yeah,
80.
It's how they do it. It's just like the FARC in Colombia. Like they realize they can't really do much, or they're conquered by arms, right? And so they go underground and they kind of try to chill in, and they try to start acting, oh, we're the politicians. So they start seeping in, and they couldn't do that until Franco was gone, because Franco had such a tight but they changed the culture, right? I mean, it's kind of like how it happened in Europe. They changed. They went in with the lower royals and stuff, try to get on their side, like, oh, putting pride on their side, jealousy to go against. And so we'll see, man. Something's got to happen.
We're getting to the point, and I keep expecting nothing to happen, right? Because it's not that nothing is happening. It's that we have way more patience, apparently, to put up with BS.
Well, because of comfort.
Exactly. A lot of us were like, man, I'm super comfortable right now. Like, I'm not dealing without meals. I got power every day. Yeah. AC still kicking down here in Alabama. I'm pretty good.
As long as the trains
run. Do I want to give that up?
Yeah.
Do I want to?
That's really what it is, though, right? And that's all it is. Because, I mean, it's going to happen, right? It's just inevitable. Historically, human nature, it's going to happen. And it's just going to be that one, Archduke Ferdinand's shooting or something. I mean, because if you look at the Spanish Civil War, like the Republicans were murdering nuns and priests and doing all, and they were being allowed to for a certain period of time. And it took that one. There was one politician, one leader that everyone on both sides loved, and he was assassinated by an offshoot commie group, and that one death just set everything off.
Yeah.
And that's usually, but we're at that point where it's just going to take one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we won't see that in America for long, because we got a large ass moat around us, and
Yeah.
I don't think we'll
Well,
ever
that
see stuff like, you know.
that from us it'll be internal, right? Because like
We're gonna
it,
vote.
and that's the thing. Like more and more people I talk to, who aren't like who I was trying to figure out how I want to put this. When I talk to people about the current situation, like what is the political climate going on right now? More and more guys, not women, because to be honest with you, you have to disregard the opinion of women because women are always going to vote in what's in their best interest collectively. Right. So they're always going to vote in the manner, not always, not all of them, not
They will not most of them will not they're not ordered in a way to sacrifice
right.
for that great. That's the man's. I mean, that literally is like
Right.
the man's attitude. That
So,
you're willing to forego this comfort because you understand that the further down. And women, they're more is for like the
for security,
the kids and the I mean that I don't.
they
It's
would be fine.
It's actually a good thing for that situation, like for a family, right?
Yeah. But rightly ordered, it should be the father providing that. Right. The husband.
The security and the.
So women tend to vote in line with whatever provides them the most security, which is why most of them vote big government. Okay, because they think the government can take care of them. Right. Women haven't gotten to the point now where to understand that the government doesn't care about them. It is only using them for their vote so we can keep growing. The men I talk to,
but they don't care. I mean, to a point, if you're taking care of your kids, I mean, you've talked to those people where it's just like, yeah, I know it's bad, but you know what? They took care, like they kept us from poverty and blah, 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 blah. I'm still going to get mine. And it's just like,
yeah, the men I talk to are increasingly growing impatient. And because you understand from a father who has been married for 10, 15 years, has 3, 4, 5 kids, it's going to take a lot to get that man to put himself at risk for his country when he's giving up his family in the process. Because he knows, because if you get involved, you more likely will get hurt, jailed, or dead. Right. And so you have to be okay with doing that. Is the buy-off worth it? Is the leverage worth it to give that up to protect your family in the long run and give it up in the short term?
Right? I agree. But I will say there's a caveat, but kind of coincides with what you're saying. Men, if you give a clear and concise, like leader, like true leader, right? And with the guidelines to follow, and like give a man a clear, concise thing to follow, they will follow that, right?
Yeah.
And right now, there's nothing. All it is talking people everywhere, and you're like, okay, do I go this way? Do I go that way? I need a unifying voice.
Yeah.
And then you'll have them in, but where is it? We don't have
and it's not going to be from the political class.
Oh, 100% not. No,
it's going to be it's more likely going to be like a retired colonel, right? That's still in like phenomenal shape at 60.
It'll be more like a retired gunny or something. Colonels are politicians, man. I'm teasing, dude. I know.
But I mean, to your point, because most colonels are just trying to make brigadier.
Right. But you get a Mustang.
Yeah. But you're gonna find some guy who's been there and saw all the crap and has been through it, and for good or ill, whether he's virtuous or not, men will follow him if he's got a clear, concise plan, and he's willing to sacrifice himself as well to do it. Right? Which is why no one really is willing to give themselves up for politicians unless they're willing to sacrifice. Which is why, unfortunately, like Trump has a large following because people saw that he was apparently giving up some of his wealth in order to run for president. Now we find out he's just making himself super wealthy by entrenching himself in crypto. In other facets of the government.
I don't know why but that kind of goes to the point where we're saying like people are looking for that, for the leader, the one, and unfortunately you're not going to find it without prayer. I mean, it's going to be somebody initially you're not going to figure it out, right? It's going to be, but he's going to have the goals and the beliefs that we follow, right? Like, I mean, if you think of the Spanish Revolution or Civil War back to it, it's like they had the what were the I don't know, frangelists who were like super right, like basically Nazi, and then you had the Carlists who were the monarchs, which would probably be like us, right? They were the Catholics, right? They're the ones that like they had the mass and the apostolic or the Eucharistic parade just prior to their first assault on the Republicans. But the Frangelists and the Phalangelists, thanks, and the Carlists met up, right? I mean, they still were because they were enemy. They were still kind of going for that, and they actually were in a coalition government for a while. So it's not going to look perfect, but I think they're going to get groups that have closer beliefs and goals. But that's what's going to take. Like, but where is it? Have you? I mean,
well, it's going to have to come from somebody who can walk the walk too. Because
right.
for too long have we fallen behind people who just talk it and aren't able to walk it, right? It's going to be a guy who's willing to get in there.
It's not going to be I have a degree in there. Like, piss off. Like, I don't care. I want lived experience and wisdom. You know, like.
But I mean, you could just scroll across Instagram and see the amount of guys on the algorithm who are espousing like they're done and they're willing to do something now. Right. And like some of it's a lot of talk. A lot of this is guys like just bloviating and
they don't know, right?
Yeah, because they haven't seen.
They don't know what it really takes. Yeah,
the cost of this violence, because the amount of violence that we're going to have to enact in order to get our country back, it's going to be bad, guys.
Oh, dude, you can't trust your neighbors. Your neighbors, like every civil war. Your neighbors, like when law breaks down, they go after, like, oh, I want your land, or I want that. You know, it's like, or they petty squabbles get fixed and nobody can investigate it. You know, like there's going to be a lot of death and suffering. I mean, we're due for it.
And keep in mind the side that's in power, and whether it's both political parties. It's not just like one side. They're both.
It's a uni party, man.
They're eating babies, sacrificing people, and probably conducting the largest human trafficking trade ever, to way past the Atlantic slave trade, and they're not going to give that up. Right now, they're able to do it on a whim, and no one could do anything about it because they hold all the levers of power in order to scare them and take that away. Which is just going to a little bit of a tangent. So the Sean Ryan show, he was talking. Well, actually, he was talking to Tucker Carlson, talking about how Ivanka Trump, whatever her name is, bought that island in like Albania or whatever, right? It was like had a secret bunker or whatever, and then you find out that Zuckerberg is creating a huge like underground bunker in Hawaii, and all these rich people are doing it, right?
So Obama did too in Hawaii.
They're all doing it, right? They're building these massive like doomsday bunkers, which betrays their misunderstanding of what power will be if things go bad, when things go bad, like they're expecting. They think they're just going to be able to pay off their security, and their security will always protect them. Their security is going to figure out that the only currency is violence at that point, and they're just going to kill them and take their bunker.
Might is right. That's truly what the world has been. That's the truth. Might is right.
When your power goes from hard power to soft power, as politicians have now, that's all soft power because they can't do anything, right? But when the line changes and now everything's back to hard power and what kind of violence you can bring them out in order to get your way, all of those elites are going to be dead in their bunkers because their own security teams are going to kill them, and then their security teams are going to bring their family and their friends over to that bunker and take it over.
Right, because
they're going to make sure their family.
our fiat currency means nothing in that situation.
Yeah,
it's actual food and.
I mean, actual gold would mean nothing.
Absolutely, 100%.
No one's going to carry around a 55-pound gold brick to pay for anything.
That's why things like bullets and tobacco, that's going to be the trading thing. It's going to go back to barter because that's the only just true currency.
You know what I think will be one of the biggest currency items in a barter situation where we can't get things anymore? It's going to be deodorant.
I don't think anyone could give a shit, man.
I think a lot, especially the women. I mean, they're like begging for deodorant, especially on their
stocking up on falsy of those fingernails and stuff. Hey, lady,
some lashes. Or getting some weaves together.
I gotta have my wife pick out the harem for the warlord, for our little warlord clan.
A year's worth of knickknacks. That's like 365 cans.
I've been trying to grow my tobacco, and I've been following this guy, and I got his book, and one of the things he was saying is like tobacco is one of the best bartering tools, because like his dad, I guess, had bought a bunch of tobacco like when he was in World War II or whatever, and he had used it because people would sell, like in Germany it was destroyed, and like having tobacco, like giving tobacco was like, or cigarettes and stuff like that was like huge. You could get almost anything with that. And with like things like I've always tried to lay out like, so tobacco, like, yeah, you can do it, but people want that. They want it to be like have a nice smoke or whatever, but tobacco is good there's health benefits, but it's also like good. It was used as like an antibiotic for like localized antibiotic, putting on wounds and stuff, like things like that. And then I'm trying to get a still, because alcohol I think is going to be huge, because you can use that for antiseptic and so like, but then again, you have to, it's kind of like, what was that guy, Sarko, that we always talk about?
Yeah.
That was in Bosnia. Like, the only reason why he survived is he was figured out how to refill the butane lighters with like propane tanks. And he's like, and the only people that had any kind of stability or wealth were people that had a skill that could be beneficial during a siege, like the doctors, the medics, the plumbers, just stuff like that. So again, if you had and it's just, people need to start thinking about what you think you could have to barter, and it's not that hard. Even like if you have land, or even you're gardening your yard. Like there's that one guy that he like makes $200K a year just gardening out of his backyard and selling it to local shop. You know, like, so you can grow that stuff even in your local subdivision. You know, like. So I mean, but liquor I like just for the simple fact is like people always want it, but it's great for cleaning, antiseptic, and you can use your still to purify water. So it's like,
it's just, you know, we're gonna get, because eventually the issue is going to be the infrastructure, right? Because right now our power infrastructure is terrible, and we're basically at the tail end.
We're not gonna have electricity. You're just gonna have to.
We're really at the tail end of it being reliable, because they're not improving the infrastructure. And to be honest with you, they should have been improving it 40 years ago. But in rust and degradation are tearing up our infrastructure, and so we're going to start seeing brownouts. On top of that, we're adding AI data centers everywhere, which require massive amounts of power.
Yeah,
like one data center will require the same power as a metropolitan city will. Just the data center itself.
They're setting up thorium reactors at those places. That's ridiculous.
We don't have the power capacity.
Plus, they're stealing water. Like, there's like a big old thing in Texas. Like, we have plenty of water, but now they're saying, oh, we got to ration it because they're putting these data centers, and there's one that's going out just northeast of Austin, and Samsung. It's a Samsung data center, and it was held off for a while. But the reason why they picked that spot is because there's a certain type of water they have to have, a purification or a mineral content of it. So they're stealing people's water just for this crap, you know.
Which just like, why do they need so much water? Well, like, what is going on there?
You got to cool it down. The processors are.
So why aren't we building this all up near the northern border?
Well, then you have to have the infrastructure to, the hard wire and hard lines, and.
I mean, it's going to be just as available up there as it down here, because everywhere they're doing around here is in very remote areas.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I know. Yeah, they're doing them in the middle of the desert. They're doing it.
But
Like El
I think
Paso has a huge one. Like,
I think they're purposely putting it near population centers in order to destroy that population center.
yeah, maybe.
In order to suck away their
Well,
power and suck
control.
away their water.
In the end, it's all about control. It's all about
Yeah.
this small group that wants to control the masses, right? So
yeah.
but,
And we've been seeing a slow degradation for 20 years. We're right now what we're starting to see is the fall off of expertise retiring. Right? All these old white men that have basically kept the country together forever are retiring and taking their knowledge with them because they're being replaced by younger guys who they can pay for a third of the price. Like I've told you this example a few times. I'm gonna say it again. During the Keystone Pipeline, when there was that huge leak that was in West Virginia, right? They could not get it to stop because they couldn't. The power switch, the electronic switch was not working. They had to call a guy who had been retired for 3 years because he was the only one that knew how to do it manually. And they had to bring him back in to do it. And it took them 4 weeks to get him back in because I think he was in Europe somewhere. Right. So that thing just leaked for months before they were able to get him because they made him retire early because they were going to replace him with someone that was a third of the cost he was. Right. We're seeing that everywhere, which is why you're seeing the issues with Boeing. Boeing is having the same issues, the quality control issues, where they've gotten rid of all these old men, these old white men that knew what they were doing, replacing them with H-1Bs and younger guys who don't have the experience, and they're having all kinds of issues. The same thing with that Titanic submersible, right? They purposely said they did not want to hire any old white men, so they all got evaporated into oblivion.
What has happened in yours and my lifetime? Wisdom is basically made fun of, right? Like experience and wisdom, they're like, oh, means nothing. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, that's how, honestly, my dad was telling me that's how he kept, and he worked for 36 years and he kept his job a lot longer than a lot of people because he knew all the old, he started when the computer languages were starting, and then he kept up going back to school to learn the new ones. He was the only person that knew all, and so when they had came into certain problems with certain electronic stuff, because he did a lot of government contracts, a lot of government stuff's old tech. He was the only one in the whole company that knew how to do it but he's retired now. Like, who's doing it then? You know?
Yeah, exactly. I've got a friend here who his father-in-law started a business, and it was creating, I don't know how to explain it, but it's basically a gadget that helps them gauge certain electric frequencies through wire, right? And he's the only company in the world that offers this thing. And this thing is like a TI 800 calculator technology. Like, it's not anything advanced, right? And they're the only company in the world that offers it and sells it. And they can't make enough of them, right? But he's retiring at this point, and he's wanting to pass it down to his my friend and his wife and his father-in-law's daughter and all that. But the government is basically not allowing them to pass it down to them because they want more than one company to offer it, and he's not willing to sell the patent because he wants his family to have the monopoly on it because they're the only ones that know how to make it. And at this point, it's not even a patent; it's just an issue of he doesn't want to sell the capability to anybody else because he invented it. And he wants to enrich his family,
intellectual property,
and they're not letting him do it. So the business is just going to go away, and no one will offer it. Right?
We see that with like you were saying, like with NASA, right? Like, people aren't like, oh, we can't build Saturn V. Well, and I know whatever, we're not going to whatever. I'm not going to get in that argument. But it's not about we can't build it. It's that the people that work through those problems and found the different fixes that weren't shown on the blueprints, because it's like anything you work on, like you find different hacks, and you find things that come up that you would have never known until you worked on it. And so they just don't want to put the money in because it's going to take a lot longer because you threw out all those notes and all those things that could tell you that these guys that had figured out and worked through those problems. It's like any kind of aircraft, like the design looks sufficient and airworthy until you actually put it in the air, And then you're like, oh crap, we have this turbulent air coming over this wing at this certain rate. You know, like, oh, we got to figure out how we're gonna, you know, it's just everything works that way. You know, like,
or it's even something that you can relate to, right?
mm-hmm.
Is when you're giving fluids to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not in the book that you should warm them up if they're cold, right? I mean, some of them it might be, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you just know through experience, we should probably put on a warmer if they're cold, right? To help warm them up a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just through experience that you know to do that. How many of those things are there? For, you know, like China.
Or give fluids to someone who has high blood pressure because they have a reflex. They're high blood pressure because they're dehydrated. So you give them fluid, and all of a sudden it drops their pressure to normal. Because, but if you didn't have that experience, like, I mean, yeah,
exactly. So like China can reverse engineer anything, right? If they get an intellectual property, they get a device, they can figure out how to make it. Okay. They can also they know how to make like a primitive fire, right? But they don't understand the steps to get from making a primitive fire to building a nuclear reactor. They can do both of the ends of the spectrum. Because they've never had to develop that because they've been stealing knowledge for so long. They've never had to go through the hard work of learning those learning scars,
the nuances,
to get to that point, right? To understand all those little things in the middle, right? Which is why, but you know, I'm not particularly scared of China. The only thing that worries me about China is there's no such thing as wokeness in China. So they don't have a social contagion running rampant through the country like we do, and they all work on the same team. But China doesn't have anywhere near 1 billion people.
Oh, no.
And the math just doesn't bear it out, especially
it proved that during COVID with all the cell phones and everything.
Yeah, like it's more like 400 million, 500 million at most. Because mathematically, with the one-child policy, there's no way 1 billion.
But even with that, like someone who said it, like in order to the jump in population that they're claiming they had would require every single woman to have like 6 or 7 kids or something, or some ridiculous number. Like every single one, like none of them could have not had them, you know, which we know like that doesn't happen, right?
Yeah, that's not what I
have, like, so it's like, it's just we live in clown world, man.
We do. And that's why it's so important for everybody to start developing skills that you can monetize if you need to, right? Learn, plumbing offhand on YouTube, right? Because even with the degradation of the infrastructure, people are still going to have running water, even if it's not from the city or a municipality. It might be through a well, might be through rainwater catchment, right? People are still going to have water. So, learning how to do durable trades that we'll never get rid of, right? Even though
how to purify water, though.
Yeah. Don't have purify water. It's a good one. Last thing you want to do is be peeing out of your butt. That's not a good day.
You won't have enough water.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah. There's not enough Modium in the world. But just having durable trays to be able to do things. And, hopefully it's niche things like being able to fill lighters with a propane tank, right? Because everybody's got big lighters. Like, how do you refill them with that, right? Because everybody wants to be able to make fire.
But you need fire, right?
Everybody's going to need fire for something. Just so have some type of durable trade that you can make yourself important to be able to, one, highlight yourself so people know to come to you for something, and two, be able to sell it in case we lose capability to, outside of a barter system, right? I don't know if y'all follow me on, for those of you who follow me on X, Eric Salmon's put out this story about how Bitcoin was hacked. Basically a cold wallet. If y'all don't know what a cold wallet is, it's basically like a USB drive that holds the Bitcoin on it, right? And they were hacked and people stole like 5,000 Bitcoins or something like that. And they didn't even have to come into your house to do it, right? Which is a big reason I don't invest in crypto. It is entirely too dependent on the grid, which is already unreliable at worst and shaky at best.
Well, it's the ultimate fiat currency. you don't even have it in your hand. At least with a dollar, you have a physical thing in your hand. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. All that funny money's stupid, man.
So that's why I don't do anything with crypto. It needs to be tangible. You need to be able to hold it, right? Which is why I try not to use my card. I try and pay cash for a lot of stuff now. Now, in the past, I haven't. Right? I just hit my card because that's super easy, right? And I can just walk around just with the card and driver's license. That's all I need. But I try and pay cash for everything. One, because it keeps you keep a pulse on what you're spending money on, and two, they always have to accept it. If their card machine goes down, they can still take cash, right? Which we saw, especially during COVID, that happened a lot because people weren't going to work, and so the card machines weren't working because there's nobody there to make sure everything was going on. So you didn't miss anything, Ocean. You didn't miss nothing at all. We've been just sitting in air silence for the whole time. What about losing what about losing the pharmaceutical infrastructure? Many folks require meds and the means of production is. So, Billy, the first thing I want you to read is a book called 1 Second After by William Fortune.
Yeah.
The reason I want you to read that, it's a fictional tale of a man in Asheville, North Carolina.
The audiobook is actually on YouTube for free.
Is it?
Yeah.
So you can listen to it. But it goes through what happens 1 second after an EMP goes off. What they think is an EMP, right? All the electronics go out. And the reason I bring that up is because in one chapter of the book, he's talking about going into a nursing home to try and find insulin for his daughter because she's insulin dependent. And keep in mind, insulin has to be refrigerated. And so if there's no power, there's no refrigerators. And so he's trying to figure out ways to keep it cold. So he ends up basically putting it in a basket that he puts in the stream, and the running stream keeps it cool enough for him to use. But you're starting to see issues with people who are on medications, psycho medications, depression, anxiety, things of that sort, as well as people who are on like palliative care, right? Things of that sort. So, and how things happen. And it's just, and he doesn't know, like he's just kind of, it's conjecture on his point, like what he thinks will happen. But read that because it gives you an idea of what will likely happen.
People will die. A lot of people will die.
Keep in mind right now, 40% of American women are on some type of anxiety or depression drug right now, which means 60% of them are running around unmedicated. My wife hates that joke. I say it all the time. She hates that joke.
Yeah, but stuff like that, like even like to go to like there are a ton of meds that are natural, like things, chemicals and plants, and like I've been really deep diving into this last year, like that have been used for centuries for a lot of these problems, and a lot of them are growing outside your door, and they're weeds and stuff. And they have the same this allopathic medicine where they've synthesized a lot of these things that cause even more side effects than what those natural things did. A lot of people are going to die, and a lot of them, some of them will die because they were put on those medicines, like, and their body might have been able to fit, but it's just that's just how it's going to be, like, the insulin thing, like, that's synthesized from that didn't come out till like, what was it, 1800, early 1800s? I can't remember, but type 1 diabetics, they're probably not going to be around long.
No, they're not. And we're going to have to get way more used to death, which was, to be honest with you, 100 years ago, before World War II, almost everyone was familiar with it because, one, people weren't living as long as they are now, so they saw it more frequently. But two, most people were producing their own food, right? 40% of Americans prior to World War II had a farm of some type, whether a 5-acre farm or a 500-acre farm, right? And so they were used to procuring their own food, which means killing their own chickens, their own pigs, their own cows, whatever it is. And most people now would be disgusted to have to kill, gut, and clean a chicken. They wouldn't know, they would just they lock. I mean, I see it all the time when I bring families here. When it's chicken processing day, we've got 50 chickens we're doing that day. There's always a family who wants to come check it out and help out, and there's always 2 or 3 kids or 2 or 3 adults that freeze up and pass out, right? Because they don't know how they can't handle it, right? Because we've lived such civilized lives where we don't have to come anywhere near our food source anymore. I see it all the time, and you're going to see that amongst everyone,
which is sad because we shouldn't. The knowledge for gardening and growing your own food, even in your like suburban home area, like backyard, you can survive, but nobody knows how. Nobody wants to do it anymore. Like, no one has done it. I mean, you can go back to the Soviet Union. Remember they started the dachas or dachas or whatever that they had the regular people. Build a little cabin in the forest and grow your food because we don't have enough food for you.
Yep.
I mean,
well, and here in the United States, we had during the Depression, and during World War II, was the freedom farms. People are encouraged, and the government will put out flyers like, if you have a family of 3, you need 6 chickens, right? Like they don't care where you lived. There was no such thing as suburbs at the time, but people in cities were having chickens.
Yeah, but people were also stealing people's chickens and all that.
That was also going on because people didn't want to have to do it themselves. So
I'm not gonna kill someone over taking my chicken unless it's gonna affect my family. But But yeah, I mean, I think I've always, since I was young, always looked at it. Go down to the basis of nothing, right? And start thinking about how you would survive with no electricity. It just takes some thought, but it's not as hard as people think it is.
Yeah.
But it does take pre-planning and pre-reflection on doing it. And as well as I do, having a farm isn't cheaper than going to the grocery store, but there's a reason you do it, right? I mean, so.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the draft, and we'll start talking about that. So this came out the other day. The USC, the Selective Service System, plans a computer simulation to test how it would carry out a national mobilization of American manpower months before the government begins automatically registering men aged 18 to 26 for the draft in December. So for those women who are watching, all one of you probably, men at age 18 have to register in the Selective Service. In December, it's being taken away from you the option. Like, it's not really an option, but they're just going to as soon as you turn 18, you're automatically registered now. Whereas before, you had to fill out a card and send it back in. With as well, talk was going on last year about including women into the Selective Service. I mean, you're a strong, independent woman. You can do anything a man can do, right? You could die on the front lines just like a man can. That hasn't gone through, and that has not been changed. Right now, it's still just men, which, lends a lot of credence for why women shouldn't be able to vote, right? If you can't be selected to go to war, why should you be able to vote? But, it's another topic for another day. So what do we do?
Right? I don't want to. That's a slippery slope, though. I wouldn't. That would actually force the Selective Service for women.
I don't. Yeah,
I agree with what you're saying, but once you start doing that argument, then they're like, "We'll just let them go to war," So.
Yeah. So then the argument comes in, right? So I want to talk about what our views of it is first, right? And then I want to go on what the church says. So my view, it depends on the situation. Right now, say we got into a conflict with Iran and it dragged out more and we started having to send troops, and we're over there, we're putting troops on the ground over there. We got boots on the ground going into Iran, and we're sending a bunch of Marines and Army over there. If it's the situation we have now, the political situation we have now, and if my son were 18 years old and he got selected for the draft and was told to go over, there's no way in hell I'm letting him go. Okay. This is not a just war. There is no reason we should be involved in this war, especially if Israel's not involved, right? And because we're basically just over there fighting Israel's war. If Israel's definitely not involved, right? And it's not a situation where I'm worried about Iran come over here attacking us. There is no way in hell I'm letting my son go, even if he wanted to, right? And he wouldn't, because he knows dad knows best. And I've been there. I've seen war. But if they came to the house to try and take him, as I said in the Telegram chat, they better come heavy, right? Which means they better bring a lot of weapons, and they better bring bachelors and body bags, because you're not taking my son, right? It is much better for my son to see me die protecting him and then having to go than it is for me to see my son to see me just give him up. I would rather him see the fight in me and not wanting to give him up for a war that we should not be involved in. That's my personal opinion, right? That's what I would do for my family. I've already let my family know of things like this. They already know, look, hey, dad's on like 5 or 6 lists. They're eventually going to try and get me anyway. Just be prepared, right? Just be prepared that you may not have me forever, because there's going to be a day where I may have to put my life in the line for y'all. And it may be over something you think is trivial, right? But it is to stand and put as the kids say, put 10 toes down, right? And stand on business about something that's worth standing about, right? So that's my opinion. Chris, let me hear your opinion.
So I've thought a lot about since us and Emanon talked on. I understand. I mean, I understand just war. I studied it, whatever. I understand the Catholic position. I understand your position. I've also went and asked for consultation and advice from quite a few of my Catholic friends who have served and who haven't served. And in the end, like even after that conversation we had on Telegram, I don't have the right answer. I don't think I have the right answer. I just don't. I'm trying to look at it from a reality point of view. One, and here's what I got here. One, like my son's 18. I can counsel him, or my sons who are at that age. I can counsel him, but I cannot stop him.
Yeah.
You are an 18-year-old man, like right? Like, I do also know.
Man, I can guilt trip the crap out of him, man.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do, we're stubborn assholes, and and at that age, we're just like, I know, like, what's his name, Emanon, like, just keeps the adventure in kids, man. I know not everyone has them, but it's like I always go back to that open range comment of Kevin Carter says that sometimes there's things worse than death for a man.
Yeah.
And whether or not you're saying that's courageous or not, I mean, to see your friends go and you not go, that will, I saw it with family members, that will haunt you. And I'm not saying to do it because of that. I mean, there's also another suffering on the other side, right? That is a suffering, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm also trying to go from the Catholic point of view. Like, so what do I do? Like, another thing, one of my friends who actually is Albanian, and he came and served the country and became a citizen, and he was like, he kind of guided me on that point, and I agreed with him. But he also said, now, if they came for my daughters, that's a whole nother story. And I completely agree, right? Like, my sons are different. I mean, men and women are different. And I will counsel them and tell them, this is what the church says. This is what needs to be done. Mm-hmm. I don't want to fight a war, an unjust war. I don't want to fight. I don't want to kill people, right? Like, I don't, like, since the Marine Corps, my whole life's been dedicated to saving lives, right? Like, but I will kill a motherfucker if he's going to do, so, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Apologies.
You're fine.
If they threaten my family, right? But I'm looking at it in reality, man. Like, yes, I would like to say I'd sit here with all my magazines and my family running to the back pastures onto the, I've already showed them what routes we have packs even on our land. Like if something comes, like what are we going to do? I've talked to my boys about this. Like you guys take care of your mothers, and I'll see you one day, like, but
Yeah.
with that said, like, what's the reality? Like, I'm going to die. They're probably still going to get captured. Right. I mean, you and I know we don't have enough bullets. I mean, the best way to defend your family that way is to have a bunch of families together. Right.
Yep.
And even then, who's to say? So what's the best for, I have to take care of my whole family. Right.
Yeah.
So I can counsel my sons and trust in God that what they choose and what they do, they'll be safe and you can still be a good Catholic even in an unjust war. Right. Like plenty of saints have done that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or do I choose prison? Right. But then they take my kids again. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the right answer yet. And I don't know if it's part of like just how I've been trained in EMS. Like I have to make split decisions with the limited information I have and then change it as it goes. And I haven't been faced with that decision yet, which is kind of, I hope it's not a cop out, but I really, this is all hyperbole for now.
Yep.
But I fear to not do the right thing, but I want to do the right thing for my family and God.
Yeah.
And I think that I was reading those documents from the church about in St. Augustine and what I've learned from St. Thomas with the just war stuff. Like it doesn't necessarily give you info on conscription, which back then that was just normal, right? So like they're talking about conscription. I mean, so they technically are talking about conscription. That's how it has always been. But how do you stop that? Like, you know what I mean? Like at some point you trust God to go into harm's way, right? Like, so
I
I don't
would
mind
ask,
going to jail for my family, but I don't mind dying for my family in any way. I don't mind dying for your family even, right? Like I really don't.
Yeah.
But in the end, is that the sacrifice I'm supposed to make, or is the sacrifice I'm supposed to make hiding in the woods, or I don't know. I don't know. Like
I think now, because we are so used to not having to really sacrifice much now, like we live such soft, comfortable lives, that
I've lost
everything
with my family, so I've sacrificed a lot, but which makes you nervous about having to do that again. We were homeless for 6 months. We were like, so I've seen the bottom, and God took care of us the whole time, like, which gives me more and more strength of like trusting in what I can't tell you the future.
Yeah.
But if I trust in God that this is the cross He's given me, or my sons, and pray daily, I mean, think about like Vietnam. That was 70% of the people that fought in Vietnam were volunteers, and a lot of them were Catholic, and they didn't all die, but they had family members praying for them at home. They had, I don't want to go and fight for somebody, an unjust war for somebody else. But reality is, we don't get decisions that we all think we do. The U.S. thinks they have more decisions than we really do in real life. We've been in this opium haze with bread and circuses, believing that we have these certain rights, and maybe like on a natural law basis you do, but again, might is right, and at some point you surrender to God, and He takes where you go. I don't know. Am I making any sense? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I completely get your side. For a lot of it, I sympathize with you as well. I just my goal for myself, because I only have one son. I've got one son and 3 girls, and I'm not going to be here forever. I mean, I could be dead next week. I don't know.
Everybody can.
Like hopefully I've set everything up, but hopefully I've set things up to where my family will be okay after I'm gone. Financially, yes, that's the truth, but like faith wise, have I given them a good enough foundation to continue on? Hopefully I have, especially my kids, and my wife is way more holy than I am. And
they tend to be, right?
Yeah, and and she keeps me on track, right? She makes sure to let me know, like, hey, like, you're supposed to be the leader and you're kind of not leading right now. You need to pick it up. And I'm like, you're correct. I am not. I'm being lazy right now.
Is your wife talking to my wife?
You think so? But hopefully I've given them that foundation they can continue on without me. But I see it for myself is I don't ever want my son to see me capitulate or compromise just because it's more comfortable to do it that way. And it may just be for me, right? It may just be more comfortable for me because I want to be there to take care of my family, right? Or it may be what was that? There was a duke during the Crusades, and the Muslims had taken his son captive, and they basically told him, we're going to kill your son unless you surrender. And he knew if he surrendered his forces, that would be the end of the crusade. And he basically just sent a missive to his son and says, son, believe in God and die well.
Right. That happened at the Alcazar in the Civil War. There's the colonel, like they caught his son, and he said, Dad, they're going to kill me if you don't surrender the Alcazar. And he said, I love you, son. A kiss. Go with God. Yeah. And he said, I love you too, Dad. And so it's like, but that's what I have to ask you is like, which is the more comfortable solution? Because neither one of them's comfortable.
No, they're not.
I don't have the right as a father. Like, I will die. The easy solution is to die for my family and save them. That truly is the easiest way. It is.
But it is also a position where you're putting faith into action as well, right? I know this, for instance, I know the war is wrong,
right?
And I know that it is not just for my son to go have to serve in an unjust war. So I'm willing to protect him to keep from doing that, even if I die, right? And yes, I mean, technically that is, easier for us because now you don't have to deal with the consequences after you're dead, and now your family has to live on through the hardship that it's going to put them through, right?
But you and I also have a unique situation of serving, and that not everyone ends up having to be like dying or being in contact, or even if you're in contact, like you're protecting your brother next to you, like.
Mm-hmm. That's why
hard,
that makes this so difficult, right? And that's why everyone has to make the decision on themselves and what is best for them and their family. Like, even if for instance, like when we're at mass,
well, it's for your family. Right? That's where I'm like hung up, man.
Well, and that's the thing. Like my family would financially be fine if something happened to me, but I believe as I know things now, that I've established a good enough foundation in the faith that they would be okay. That's what I'm most worried about. Like, they could lose this house, they could lose the cars I bought them, they could lose all the nice things. That doesn't matter, right? What matters is my kids get to heaven. My wife gets to heaven. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But
having to be conscripted, that doesn't stop them from getting to heaven, right?
That's true. That's true. But we still have to have our principles, right?
100%.
Like with Blessed Pierre, Giorgio Frassati, right? Mm-hmm. Decided to do what was, even though it cost him his life eventually, right? Mm-hmm. He was willing to not go along with what it was going on in Nazi Germany. Could he have gone along with it and been, approximate separation from sin? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Right. But his principles were important enough to him to do something about it. And that's where it comes down to, you have to do what's best for your family. To get back to my earlier, tangent I was going on. When we're at mass, my kids always want to say, "Hey, Dad, that woman over there is not dressed very modestly, right? She's she's wearing like a tank top." And I always have to remind them, look, she's probably new, right? She's not where we are yet. We have to pray for her to get there,
right? Yeah.
Right. And then next week we see her coming in with like her dad or something, right? And then like, well, why isn't he telling her not to dress like that? Look, that's their family. They're responsible for their own souls. Our job is to emulate to them what should be done. And hopefully they do that based off of seeing an example. And we pray for them, right? They have to do what's best for their family, right? And do what's best for them and where they're at right now. And that's with everyone. Anyway, the 19 people we've got watching now, or whatever it is, right? And everyone else that may watch this video in the future, you have to make the decision that's best for your family. And you need to sit down and think about these things.
I'm asking you, honestly, man, which is the right decision? Because both ways is a sacrifice. Both ways is a death as a father.
I don't think there is one.
So
you have to do what was best for you and your family, right? Like, and what your conscience leads you to.
But if you're going by the church saying you can't serve, but then they take your kid, are you going against the church? Like, I don't.
So let's get into that real quick.
Like,
so I did some research earlier on what the church teaches on the draft, conscription, and can you deny participating in a draft? So basically what I found was, under certain conditions, yes, you can deny participating in a draft in your country under certain conditions, right? So one of them has to be, is it a just or unjust war? If it's a just war, you really have no option. You have to do what's in the common good for your country, and you have to participate if they ask you. Now, if there's not a draft, you don't have to worry about it, right? But if there is a draft or it is a conscription, if it is a just war, you have to participate because it is part of the common good, and it is your participation in the common good. But if it's an unjust war, it gives you more options. And basically what it comes down to is it comes down to three paragraphs in the catechism, right? So one is under just war conditions, paragraph 2309. Legitimate defense by military force requires rigorous consideration of four simultaneous conditions. The damage inflicted by the aggressor must be lasting, grave, and certain. All other means of ending it must have proven impractical or ineffective. There must be serious prospects of success, and the use of arms must not produce evils greater than the evil to be eliminated. These traditional elements constitute the just war doctrine, and their evaluation belongs to the prudential judgment of those responsible for the common good. So,
which puts the decision on the leaders, right?
Yes,
that's the prudential decision.
But if they don't even care about just war, right, which is where we're at now, they don't care about being a just war, then that prudential decision can come down lower, right? Because you then have to, whether it's your priest or your bishop, right, has to make that decision. So then we get into the national defense and conscientious objection, paragraphs 2310 to 2311. Public authorities have the right and duty to impose necessary obligations for national defense, and armed forces personnel who serve honorably contribute to the common good and maintenance of peace. However, authorities must make equitable provisions for those who refuse to bear arms for reasons of conscience, ensuring that they are nonetheless obliged to serve the human community in some other acceptable manner. Okay, so basically what it's saying is, if you don't want to participate and carry arms, then the government has to give you the capability of serving in some other way that still helps the common good. If they do not, then you are relieved of all obligations.
That's the conscientious objector.
Right. So, which I think for most people, the biggest example of that would be Hacksaw Ridge, right? The movie Hacksaw Ridge. Popular, pop culture is what most people refer to. So, was it Doss was his name?
Yeah.
Did not want to carry a firearm as a medic, just wanted to help people. The Army gave him a bunch of crap about it. Eventually, they let him do it, and then he ended up getting the Medal of Honor for actions in combat. He was not really a conscientious objector. He just didn't want to carry a firearm because it was against his religion.
Which in my aspects, like I would go, like, and I would be a medic, right? But I'd carry a firearm because I would need to defend my patient, right? Like, and so like there's things like, man, because it doesn't really even like morally, like just from my own conscience, like I don't feel like I'm better than anybody. If they have to go, then shouldn't I go with them and at least try to help them, right? Like, but that's like, well, I have to counsel my kids on that, like.
But here's the thing: if you go, who's then taking care of your family?
Right, absolutely. Again, another
So that, but if your son goes, right, and you stop them from taking him, and now you're dead, who's taking care of your family?
Right, exactly.
And so, like, that's the connection point.
And they get thrown in jail, and they still take your kid.
My biggest fear is that I don't live up to the man that my son thinks I am.
Yeah, I completely agree. You have to have that. I think I've talked to my boys about these things. I've talked to my kids about these things, and I think as a father, you can just give them the advice and counsel that you feel is morally right and correct, and tell them the truth, and you're still living up as a father. I still think they will look up to you as a father,
but eventually they need to see you give an example for that.
I agree, but you also have to realize you're saying that about your son, but our sons all want to be us, whether they say that or not, and you served. And they're going to be like, I'm just, I don't know.
I hope my son is so much better than I am.
I do too. I've even told that to my son. Like, so he did something, and I was like, bro, like, you got to do, like, you're supposed to be better than me, And that like stopped him in his tracks, and he was like, and it was actually a really good conversation. Like, I don't know, man.
My wife and I, we talk about, because to give you all a brief glimpse of how I grew up in a very chaotic, alcoholic family. Like growing up, if someone wasn't yelling at me, I didn't think they loved me, which is probably why I fit in the Marines so well. But marrying my wife, because my wife, she grew up in a similar situation. And we always marvel to each other that how are we able to have such normal lives now, being how broken we are, right? But then raising our kids, our goal is to pass off as little of that brokenness to them as possible. And then hopefully our grandkids have even less brokenness. And hopefully by the time it gets to our great grandkids, there's no brokenness. Right. Because, my parents divorced when I was in like second grade. Her parents divorced, were probably similar age, and which is a curse amongst the family after that point. Mm-hmm. It's hard to break that chain. Mm-hmm. But when we got married, one, we were separated from family for a long time because we were stationed at Camp Lejeune. So if we got in a fight, we couldn't run to each other's, our family to escape the situation. We had to work it out. But also,
that's one of my arguments for family. That my wife and I were just like us moving away. To this day, she said like we were only had each other. We made the marriage because you couldn't walk away. You were responsible. Yep. It's like it's actually a good thing. I mean, doesn't mean you can't have family come eventually, but in those first few years, the decade, it should be
Just you and her. Yeah.
I'm gonna push it after you. Like, you gotta stop saying you're broken, bro.
Bro, I'm so broken.
You're not broke. You have scars, dude. You have
yeah.
but see, you have lived experiences, dude. Dude. I have yet to meet somebody who hasn't had some sort of scar.
Yeah.
Right. Like.
Yeah.
But you don't make that define you, and that's why you and your wife are raising your children the way you are.
Yeah.
Because so many people, you saw it in the military fire, like, people hold that as a crutch, as a victimhood, and they don't move anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not broken because you took the step forward, you know.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, but say you have these scars, but each of those lived experiences strengthen your armor for the day to come, right?
Yeah.
So you're not broken. I understand what you're saying, but say you have these scars, you have these lived experiences that are tough, but you overcame those, bro. Look at you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You're right. But there are still some wounds I have.
Everyone does. You will always have some of these wounds until the day we die, probably. You know,
and I'm trying to pass on as little of that effects onto my kids.
Right.
And I still have some, right? Like, you know, I yell at my kids way too much, right? And and some of it's the Marine in me, right? And I'm trying, and trust me, I don't near as much as I want to, but because you know
that'll change because you still have young kids, right?
Yeah, and they don't listen. You know,
honestly, like I feel bad for my firstborn son. My oldest daughter is like, but my firstborn son, I've apologized to him, like, because you know how, like, you're scared.
Yeah.
As a like, I want to do everything right, and so like, eventually you realize it's in God's, and I don't yell anywhere near what I used to do, and but that's what I'm saying. Like, you're gonna grow out, or you'll figure it out.
One thing that I've really taken to heart was when I apologize to my kids, and I apologize to my kids. Like, I make sure the other kids see it.
Yeah.
Right. When I get in a fight with my wife, I make sure the other kids see that we make up in front of them.
Ooh.
Right?
Really?
Well, you know,
I'm just doing
part A, part B is later. But I want them to see, like, I'll give you an example. So maybe it was last week, maybe the week before that. I got real frustrated with my second youngest daughter, and I got on her a little too hard. And my wife, you know, afterwards, ever was done, took me aside and was like, "Hey, you're pretty rough on her. Like, do you think that was good?" And I thought about it for a minute. I was like, you know what, I was probably pretty hard on her. So a little bit later, probably like an hour later, I go upstairs to her room. She's with my youngest daughter, and she's tough. She doesn't like. She's like I can't spank her anymore because it doesn't affect her.
She's stubborn.
Yeah, so it doesn't affect her. Like, she'll just like look at me after she's done getting spanked and just like to give me a defiant face and walk away. Like, spankings don't work, so I don't spank her anymore because it doesn't work. But I went up to her and I knelt in front of her, and I was like, you know, I told her, I was like, look, I'm sorry. I should have not talked to you like that. I got frustrated and I let my emotions get a hold of me, and I yelled at you out of frustration, and you don't deserve that. And she immediately wants to poo-poo it off, like, oh, it's fine. Like, no, it's not fine. I should not talk to you like that, right? And it's like she started tearing up a little bit. But my youngest daughter was there and saw me do it because I wanted to make sure because she saw me yell at her. I wanted her to make sure she saw me apologize to her.
Again,
and that has been
you're not broken, Adrian. You're not broken because you just did something that your parent, from what you say, didn't do, right? Because you had to. Well, but I mean, but then again, you also have to give them. I mean, go to Sirac, man. Eventually, you have to forgive them because we all mess up. God, I gotta stop. 3 days on an ambulance, man. I try so hard not to. But we're doing our best, man.
Yeah.
And even your parents, in a lot of ways, did their best. You know, It's what they knew. So you're not broken, brother. You're just, if anything, you've proven that you're not. You know.
You know, I think because one of my biggest pet peeves is when people always want to bring up the hardships they've gone through as if a reason for the way they act, right?
Right.
And a lot of it we see is you'll hear guys like, well, I'm an a-hole, you just have to get over it. Like, nobody, you choose to be an a-hole.
Right.
Like, you don't have to be like that.
Right.
Or like women are like, well, if he can't deal with me at my worst, he doesn't deserve me at my best. Like, nobody wants a woman like that.
Yeah.
And, like, we always have to put up with like horrible stuff all the time. Like, nobody wants a woman like that. But there's no excuse for previous experiences you've gotten and been through. And yes, they may be terrible. Like, everyone's gone through some type of abuse, especially over the last 30 years, right? There's no way that you were born after the 80s and not gone through some type of abuse, whether it's emotional, verbal, sexual.
Way before that, they just didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
but that's no excuse for you to be an asshole to people, right? You have
as
to
a Catholic, right?
Yeah, especially. So you need to get over that stuff, right? If I can get over I've been abused almost every single way you can be, right? And I'm still not like that, and I don't pass it to my kids. It is a choice, right? There's nothing that is outside of a choice for you to.
They're all a choice, man. You have a choice. Everything's a choice. It really is, and you can choose to do it this way. But all those things that happen were wisdoms, right?
Well, and for me, like it wasn't even that deep for me. It was, I just don't want my kids to be like that.
Right.
Right. Like, when I got out of the Marines, the first thing I did was, like, when I had my daughter, who's, she'll be 14 at the end of this month, which is crazy to me. I never thought I'd live this long, first of all. But
I make all my kids write a contract. They write a contract before they become a teenager. Every one of my kids, they have to turn in this contract, and I have to figure out if I'm going to sign it or not. It's just a thing. It's funny, but to teenagers, holy cow,
man,
that is purgatory in itself.
She is me, but as a girl, and it is like, there's a lot of times that I'll see her say something I say, and I'm like, "Who taught you that?" Oh, I did. Sorry. But it's just a matter of, I don't want my kids to be like I don't. When I got out of the Marines, I stopped cussing. Like, which is, as a Marine, like, that's basically breathing.
I lessened my cursing,
but I don't. I don't cuss in front of my kids. In fact, I said, like, asshole for the first time like 2 weeks ago, and my kids were shocked. They're like, oh, what is this? But I don't cuss in front of my kids because I don't want my kids to talk like that. Right. And I make these conscious decisions because I don't want my kids to be like I was.
So you're not.
But to your point, yes, I'm not broken. I have a lot of scars, though, right? That I'm trying not to pass on, and not trying to make sure those wounds don't open again to where my kids now have that wound, right?
You're not passing on those scars, right? You're not recutting open those wounds, which is it's a good thing, man.
Yeah.
No,
cool. It's so, to get back to the draft point, man. Y'all have got to make a decision for what's good for you and your family. It is much more important for me to show my only son by example, because I'm not gonna be here forever anyway, and he needs
examples are the only things that stick, right? So.
Yeah. And it will likely never come to that. I will likely never have to worry about that decision, right? More than likely. But I also make sure to have these conversations with my son about certain things. Like, like, what do you think? Like, we talk about the martyrs a lot. We talk about the saints a lot, what they did. Like, my favorite, my patron saint is Saint Nuno Alvarez Pereira, who was a Portuguese saint that was actually just canonized in like 2002. But if y'all ever get a chance, there's a book about him called The Peacemaker Who Went to War. Is written by, I think Lepanto Publishing puts it out. Loretto
on Telegram. I'd love to read that.
Loretto Publishing puts it out. It's only like a 150-page book, but it's phenomenal. basically Saint Nuno Alvarez Pereira was he was a soldier during the Portuguese and Castilian wars, and he eventually rose to the rank of general. And he was basically the only reason that Spain never took over Portugal. And that Portugal
I was in that fort. I got to go to that fort last week.
Yeah, his story is so inspiring. Like there's examples of him stopping in the middle of battle and praying to our Lady in the middle of battle, right, and then going on. One of my favorite stories about him was he was married, had daughters. His wife and daughters passed away before he was old. So he retired from the military and donated all his money to the Carmelites monks up there, and he decided to become a Carmelite monk. When the Castilian king found out about it, he sent an emissary to go check to see if he was actually serving if he was a monk at this Carmelite monastery. And when the emissary gets there and finds out who he is and says, "Are you? I can't believe you're actually a monk," and because he knew at that time, like, he was the only thing keeping Castile from taking over Portugal, and he made sure to show the emissary that he took off his habit and he still had the arm underneath. And he told him, he's like, just make me pull out my sword. And nice. Castile never went back to war with Portugal after that. So, if y'all ever get a chance to read that book, it's phenomenal. There's a YouTube channel called He did a really good story on him. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
We went to that, or we drove by that. It wasn't open. The Carmelite monastery in Porto, which is really good. The one in Lisbon actually was damaged in the major earthquake, and the Marquis, when he was rebuilding the city, he picked that one building to be the reminder of the. So he rebuilt everything else, but he didn't rebuild that convent. And so it's sitting in ruins with no roof. It's like, no, but. So he's kind of like the Portuguese Cincinnatus, huh?
Man, he's absolutely my favorite saint. Absolutely. So the channel on YouTube is called the Catholic Men's Podcast. He did a good video on him. He's got a bunch of good videos though. Y'all ever get a chance to watch his stuff?
What's it called?
The Catholic Men's Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's on YouTube. But I try and encourage my son to read the saints so he gets an idea of like how we are. And this fall he's going to start going to Fraternitas with me. If y'all don't know what Fraternitas is a brotherhood of men and young men who are trying to help each other grow in virtue, right? And it is a phenomenal organization. It is not a Catholic Boy Scouts. That's more Troops of St. George. But it is a capability of helping young men with their fathers or other men to grow in virtue. But it is probably one of the better organizations I've been a part of since I've come back to the faith. But my son will finally get to participate this year, which I've been going for like 7 years before he can finally come. But if y'all have a chapter near you, you should get involved. It's phenomenal. But
I just listened to that Catholic Men's Podcast, and that I've actually watched that guy. He was actually, I'd watched him every week when he did the St. John Bosco. He would do the St. John Bosco thing.
Yeah.
What was the name of that saint again? Your saint?
Saint Nuno Alvarez Pereira. Pereira. The name of the book is The Peacemaker Who Went to War.
Nice.
But it's a great book. I try and get y'all know him as the Chivalry Guild, but I talk to him pretty frequently, and I keep trying to get him to read it. And he's got his whole book list he's already reading. So trying to get him to interject one in there has been difficult, but I keep telling him, man, you need to read this so we can talk about it. He's like, all right, man, I'll get to it soon. Like, come on, man, this is 2 years ago when I told you that. What are we doing? What time is it? Oh, it's 9:40, man. I had no idea. We got any crazy questions? I used to love Matthew Miller from Catholic Men's Conference. I used to watch him back when he did about yeah. My cat's outside. I'm not bringing my cat in here. He'll just get fur all over me. It is just my leg. My cat's outside though. I don't let him inside anymore. He's a pain in the butt. He'll just get all up in my face, and it's just not worth it. Let's see. I'm taking care of my daughter's dog this week too, or this weekend, and she's a team. I'm not a team anything. I've never seen what's her name War on Beauty, other than in her skits that you do. Like I've never seen a video of hers.
I don't know who's Bree.
Bree Solstad, the former like porn star, who's now like not a porn star.
I'm Team War on Beauty, so in solidarity for Taffy.
You know, we should all be wingmen for Taffy, and But I heard War on Beauty is like a trust fund.
You said that, yeah. I wouldn't doubt it. Like, I wish I was a trust fund, baby.
You can't. yeah. Make things real easy.
Actually, no, it's probably better I wouldn't be because.
Man, I would not be good with a lot of money.
I want to be a good Catholic.
I would say,
yeah.
I would be terrible with a lot of money. Thank Lord for blessing me with being not rich.
Yeah,
because that would be terrible.
Who was it? What saint was saying that comfort and riches is a trap or something? Somebody posted that. That's totally true.
It is, man. Because thankfully I make pretty good money now. And I just like want to give it away all the time. Like I'm always like looking for reasons to like give it to church or give it to people who need it, like or GoFundMe's or stuff.
Yeah,
my wife is like, we need stuff around the house. So like, we'll get it next time. Well, whatever.
Yeah, we're finally at a most comfortable financial state we've ever been in our marriage. Like it's kind of crazy, but I know it could be gone tomorrow. Like.
You only had to retire to get there.
I know. That's really, I mean, I was going to stay 3 more years, but it actually made more sense monetarily. I had a pretty good windfall. You get a drop from you buy military time and stuff. So
yeah,
it allowed me to take a vacation with my wife after 24 years.
I saw the pictures. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. That was, I think the biggest, well, obviously the Fatima thing was really, that really pissed me off, like to no end. But luckily we got to go to the Templar convent, whatever. That was super cool. But man, dude, like it is such like it's a Catholic country, right? Like literally, you cannot go 5 miles or more without seeing a beautiful ancient church or castle or with Catholic everything on it, but the people aren't. I asked Aaron, "Are you Catholic?" "Oh, I'm Catholic." "Yeah." "Well, do you practice?" "Oh, no, I'm not." It's like, man, dude, like, and the funny thing, the sad thing is that all these beautiful basilicas and cathedrals are only being renovated because the state took them over. Because all these were built by the kings and when they killed their king off and their royal family, like it all obviously went to the Republicans. They called them the Republicans there too. But it's kind of funny that the socialists are rebuilding the beauty of the Catholic faith. It's kind of like ironic, like because the Catholic Church won't. Because then you go to Fatima and the Catholic Church built this horrific. Man, I'm telling you, the Adoration Chapel, I couldn't stop sitting there going, I saw this in Soylent Green, man. This is a suicide trap. I mean, I felt so horrible because I was sitting there praying to God, like, but it was so, oh my gosh. Again, it's like you shouldn't meet your heroes, but dude, that's like since I was a child, I've known about that. I've learned about that. I've wanted to go.
Yeah.
And like even my wife was like, I'm so sorry, Chris. Like I wanted to go too, and she's like, it's so cold. It's so cold here.
Everyone I've talked to say, hey, like you can't go to Fatima. like it will, like you said, like it's like meeting your heroes. Like, hey, go to Lords, right? Go to Assisi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are still great,
Mm-hmm.
but don't go to Fatima. Like I've never been in Europe other than like passing through on the way to
I
Afghanistan.
hadn't either. Yeah,
So
but I'm very glad.
I've got 3 trips that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
2 with the family, 1 with just me and my wife. Like I want to take the family. I want to take them back to Germany, where my family's from,
Right
and
on.
I'd love to go back and go back to Bod, Germany, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, and maybe even find some of my distant relatives there. But
Mm-hmm.
and then I want to take all the kids to Rome. But
Mm-hmm.
like me and my wife, I want to go to Ireland, just the 2 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And she made the comment the other day. She's like, I don't know if we should go to Ireland because I probably won't want to leave. I'm like, you're probably right. You probably
That's
won't
beautiful.
because I'm not about going to like Dublin or anything. Like I don't want to go to. I want to go like the villages.
Right.
Right. I want to go see the people, the southern people of Ireland.
Right.
Right. I want.
Well, that's what we did. We rented a car and I just drove. Yeah. FYI, here's if you've ever driven Code 3, you can drive in Europe.
Good.
Bro, like it's like you have to be like they have no idea. They're driving. Lines mean nothing. Rules mean nothing. It's just like if you're not like they're just suggestions. It's just like funny as heck. But yeah, I definitely want to go back to Portugal. I don't want to go back to. We want our next trip. We want to do Spain. Or our next trip's gonna be Rome with Anthony on that pilgrimage. But I've always wanted to go to Spain. But we definitely want to go back to Portugal. It's just not Lisbon's a shithole. It was literally. I literally was like, we were driving in, and it's kind of funny. Like the literally the plants that are there are exactly the same as Southern California. It looked like Southern California. And then going through Lisbon, I'm like, this is Los Angeles. I mean, except for the beautiful history, which is kind of covered up. Yeah. But then when we rented the car and we started driving the hills and the villages, I mean, it's still kind of they're like a developing nation still in Europe. Because the dictator, well, they call him a dictator, but I don't know how the political. I want to read more. Someone gave me some books to read on it, but I thought he was more like Franco. But their colony holdings, they gave more money to. They were actually higher quality of living there because it was all the businesses and stuff, and so they didn't have their first highway, which was like a 2-lane highway from north south until like 86, 87. And only so like you go in there, there's these old houses like the brick and everything, but they're falling apart, and they're finally coming back, and it's still a very beautiful country, and just the Catholicism. If the Catholic Church comes back to its glory, Portugal will be an amazing place. Like.
I mean, anywhere. I mean, a lot of these places in Europe will be like that.
Oh, I know.
Which is why it's so surprising to me that here in the United States, we had, in our little diocesan Latin Mass, and keep in mind, like, we have pretty decent Novus Ordos here. Like, I wouldn't say any of our Novus Ordo masses are like super heretical. Like some of them are a little weird, like because there's a bunch of boomers, whatever. But none of them are super heretical. But so our diocese of Latin Mass haven't really exploded as much here as it has in other dioceses. And it's also in the murder capital of the United States, Western Birmingham. But we still get, the number of young men who have been coming to our parish who are raised Catholic, right, and then kind of strayed after college, and now come back. Like I don't have enough fingers and toes to count the dozens at this point of guys I've talked to who have been to our mass at least once or twice, right? And or like there's something going on with guys younger than 30 that they're seeing the world as evil it is, and there's no mooring that they can tie to anywhere other than the Catholic Church. Everything else has changed other than, and the world is spinning, and they're trying to anchor themselves to something, and the only thing they can find that is not moving is the Catholic Church. Regardless of what the media is telling us, regardless of what we think the hierarchy is doing, the teachings of the church still have not changed. Right. So that they're all, and we have so many young men. The women, not so much. There's not as many young women coming back as there is young men.
Because they want the feelings. They want the feelings that the Billy Bob's non-denominational down the road, it makes you feel great. Like, I've talked to some former Catholics who are like, oh yeah, people were mean to me at church, or I mean, were they mean to you? Or you just didn't talk to you, or you just didn't understand any of your faith? They're like, well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I like the way like they just make me feel good. It's like, well, that's not worshiping God, though, like.
But when they can go to social media and get all the feel goods they want,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
what they, and that's also, so hopefully here in the next 5-10 years, we have much stronger men coming through the church who have a good basis of their faith now and who have a good practice. Because, as Anthony specifically we talk about all the time, it's not good enough that you converted. You have to actually live a Catholic faith for a while. And I'm an example of that, right? When I first came back to the faith 10 years ago, I was on fire. One, I never knew what a Latin Mass was until I came back. Like, I grew up in the Catholic Church up until I was 18, and then I left because I thought I knew everything. But I came back at 36, and I never knew what Latin Mass was until that point, until I was 36 years old. And I was listening to all the apologetics and knew everything, but I didn't really live a Catholic life. And it wasn't until like now, 10 years later, that one, I have a lot more patience for people who are coming into the faith. But two, like, I've now liturgically been able to live like this with a family who's all in the faith now, because my wife just came into the faith 7 years ago. But being able to live through it. But it's going to take time for these young men who are coming into the church to live the faith for a little bit before they can start leading young women into the church.
Yeah,
before the young women want to.
That's why my wife. That's one of the reasons my wife tells me she wanted to date me and marry me. Our second date, I took her to church, and she grew up nominally Catholic, right? They went to all the sacraments because that's what the traditional Mexicans would do, but they didn't really ever go to church, And she told me, she's like, I saw your faith and I wanted it. And I'm like, really? I mean, my faith wasn't. I mean, okay, but she's now since then she's made me stronger, Like, so it's like, I think you have something there, and I agree with you. Like, if you everybody, because that's what everything's on social media now is like, we can't find a husband, we can't find a wife, we can't. And if they start seeing these good men,
that
are following virtue,
Yeah. Who's it? What was that quote by Fulton Sheen? Talking about the quality of a nation is dependent on the quality of its women.
Oh, I don't heard that.
Because men will live up to the standard of the women. It's something like I bastard that super bad, but that's basically the gist of it. Was that a country is only as good as its women because men strive to earn the respect of good women, and so they will raise them up to that point. And I've seen that. I mean, that was true of me. Like, my wife was the first woman I ever dated that was, a healthy relationship. Right. Prior to that, I was like, every woman I dated before that was crazy.
Wait, hold on. They're all crazy, bro. You just got to.
That's true. That's true. But I dated one woman who literally had papers that said she was crazy. So if the government thinks you're crazy and gives you certified papers for it, so you're actually
first day. Go check her purse for the prescriptions.
I need to see the membership card. Yeah. Be silent. But there's the same thing with me. Like, I, even after we got married, because to be honest with you, I wasn't mature enough to get married when I got married, but I wanted to live up to the type of man that I think my wife should be with. And that helped me grow. Like, I'm nowhere near the same guy as I was 18 years ago when I first got married. Like, I'm nowhere near the same guy. Like, my humor is probably the same. That's about it. But other than that, like, my values are completely changed. My desires for things, I'm not, trying to chase the Jones on anything. I don't really desire material things, but I just want my family to be happy. I want my kids to have a good experience. When I take my kids somewhere to do something, it's because I want to see them experience it. I don't go because I want to see it, right? I want to see them experience something. Because that helps me to understand. I enjoy it so much more knowing they're enjoying themselves. That makes me happy.
I had that experience because my wife, like, she never got to go anywhere. Like, they would go to Mexico for family, but she never went anywhere. She never really got to do much of anything. They were very, very poor, and so like I got to go do a ton of stuff. Like, I just went and did it. We weren't rich at all, but I would go do. I'd save up, or I'd go do something, or I'd go on trips and visit places, and so like, but it got boring, right? Things you did, but now I had my wife to share them with, and she had never been, and so like those places became new again, And the same thing happened when your kids come, and so it's kind of cool, like to be like, hey, I want you guys to experience what I experienced at these places, and
Yeah, absolutely. It's just when you start, especially when you become a husband, especially when you become a father, you begin to stop prioritizing yourself, and you prioritize those that you love more. Which is what I'll have young guys like, oh, I don't want a lot of kids. Like, one, you don't get to choose that. If you're being Catholic, you don't get to choose that.
Right, if you're being Catholic.
But two, the more kids you have, the happier you'll be, because you stop prioritizing stupid crap, and you start prioritizing things that matter, like your kids. You stop worrying about, well, you're going to buy a new car every 3 years, to now worrying about, does my son, is he going fishing with the rest of us? Like I want him to, because I want him to be around that stuff, or whatever it is, right? You stop, your priorities align correctly, as long as you're not a deadbeat, but like, I've never met anybody that said, you know what, that eighth kid was probably too much. Like, if you've got 8 kids, you probably got a 14-year-old that's taking care of the youngest 3 anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you're not all by yourself anymore.
Yeah. Actually, I had someone ask me that yesterday. Like, they literally was like, did you have a bunch of toddlers at once? I'm like, well, not initially, but we did have like 4 of them, like, back to back. He's like, that's great. I'm like, no, like, I had older kids. Like, you figure it out. Like, they're awesome. Like, everybody's just so afraid. Like,
oh man, have as many, and you'll never be financially ready for kids ever.
No,
even if you're rich, you will not be financially ready.
It literally says in the Bible, in Psalms or Proverbs, your children are the heritage of God. They are gifts from God. Like, literally, if you have a kid, God granted you that kid a gift. That's freaking amazing. Like, just meditate on that for a second. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm an idiot. How did I deserve this? Like, right? Like, no.
Yeah, I have a hard time associating with people who don't like their kids, and unfortunately, in my job, I see it a lot.
Yeah, I've been shocked. I didn't see it a lot, or they didn't admit it. But recently, I've met people like, yeah, I just don't like time. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? You're the most selfish son of a bitch I've ever met in my life.
I see so many boomers that their kids can't stand them because they've treated them like crap their entire life. It's so often, man. Because I'm always trying to help people, like, plan out their finances for the rest of their life, or maybe like if they need long-term care or something, right? Like, how do we take care of that? Man, the amount of boomers, and what it is like, my dad was a boomer, and I remember growing up, my grandmother and grandfather were always around. Like, they were always watching us, right? So, but then, like, when I was a senior in high school, my grandmother passed away, so we didn't have her around as much. But I have friends who were in the same situation. Their grandparents are always around. So when they had kids, they're like, oh, well, dad and mom will be around a lot to help us out. No, because the boomers got so used to being the priority to their parents that they still think they're the priority even later. So it's all about them, right? So they don't. That's why you see so many boomer parents don't know their grandkids or aren't around their grandkids very often, because it's inconvenient. Like, how are they supposed to be around their grandkids when they're out with their friends and going on vacations and they're going on cruises all the time? They can't have their grandkids around. How are they going to do that? How are they going to live their best life in retirement when their grandkids are around? They can't do that, right? Instead of sacrificing what they want to be around their grandkids, which I think we're going to see. We're going to see that change with the millennials.
Yeah, I mean, but that's where the wisdom came from with the grandparents.
Yeah, which is,
I mean, we're like the only country in the world that didn't bring in their parents in the household. You'd have 3 generations in a household. We're the only country, really. I mean, there's more now, but because that's where the wisdom came from. Like, you're raised for your grandfather. Like, dude, even the limited time I had with my grandparents, like, there was a weight to my grandparents, my grandfather's voice that my dad didn't have. You know what I mean? Like, it was almost like, and you'll see that with like friends or whatever, like, oh, my grandfather did this, or it's like, because it goes back to what we're talking about, experience and wisdom. Like, that means something, even whether or not, even though society says not, when that experience and wisdom says it to you, it's indelible mark on your hippocampus, on your on your on your mind and your thought, you know.
Like my oldest daughter, she's 14, and I joke with her all the time, like, hey, when you're 18, do not be surprised if I arrange a marriage, because I need grandbabies.
So I say
we can't have any more kids ourselves, so I'm going to need y'all to have grandbabies. All my kids have a 4-kid quota, right? And I also I joke with them, like, hey, just so you know, whoever has the most grandkids and takes care of me and mom gets the house. Just so you know, like, I'm not above bribing y'all, but it's all tongue in cheek. But my kids see me around other kids, and they know how much I love kids, right? Like, they'll see me with like friends' kids, because my wife and I we're in a weird position where we're older, but we have younger kids. Like, we didn't have our first child till I was 32, right? And so we had my last child when I was 36 or 38, 38, yeah, 38. Right. And so we're in a weird group where we have like a 6-year-old and I'm 45. Right. Whereas we have other friends who have like a 6-year-old and they're like 32. So we're in that weird position.
51.
Yeah. If my wife got pregnant now, it would legit be a miracle, because she doesn't have a uterus anymore. So, I make sure, like, I love being around kids. I love kids. I love babies. And my kids see that all the time. So they know, like, hey, when we get married, we have kids, dad's going to want to be around our kids all the time. And that's true, because I'm going to take the grandbabies and kick them out, tell them to go somewhere so I can have the grandbabies all the time. But that also has shaped everything I do around my house. Like, I make sure my house is convenient for babies, even though we don't have any and we don't have any grandkids, because we have friends with babies, right? As well as I make sure my wife never has to go to work so she can be around grandbabies. Like, nothing would make my wife happier than having grandbabies over all the time, right? So everything is focused on that and helping, support the next generation, which is why, I bought 40 acres down the road, because I want to give it to my kids, because you don't have to worry about building codes if you never plan on selling it, right? You can build whatever you want to live on it, especially in an unincorporated area. So I'm trying to sell.
Are you developing it yet? I haven't seen any since you had the.
I haven't.
The chainsaw toy. I mean, sorry, the electric chainsaw.
Yeah. It's my wife, for my birthday, got my dad's chainsaw refurbished. We have a steel shop here, and they cleaned it up and everything for me. And I haven't got to use it yet, but I'm sure I'm going to have to. But yeah, like, the whole purpose about that land was to give it to my kids. So they can have somewhere to live. It's 40 acres, 4 kids, everybody gets 10 acres. So it's all about sacrificing for yourself to help set up the next generation, which the boomers never did.
That's your legacy. Yeah. They forgot. The boomers forgot that their legacy is their children. Yeah,
they did.
Not all of them. Right?
Not all of them. Yeah, not all of them. There are some good boomers, but they are a extreme minority. Right? A majority of boomers is the reason their stereotypes are real, because they all fit the stereotype. Not all of them, but a majority of them, right? So, but there are some good. I've met some good boomers who, when I'm setting up a plan for them in retirement, their only concern is, yeah, my kids make a bunch of money, but like they're gonna need more money because the economy's crap, right? Or taxes are gonna be terrible. Like, so if I give them more of my money, I'm going to. And like that, but they're so few and far between, man. So few and far between.
Yeah.
And it's mostly about my kids don't need the money. They make good jobs. Oh yeah, what's a good job? Oh, my son makes $50,000 a year. That ain't a good job. That's barely a livable wage.
Right.
You know, like golly, just because $50,000 a year was great in 1960 doesn't mean it's still great now. Like they have no concept of inflation whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, you probably know. I remember back like a decade ago, 28,000 annually was poverty level.
Still
I
is.
don't know what it is.
It's still the poverty line.
Is it?
So $39,000 a year in 1995 is equivalent today to $334,000 a year.
Holy shit.
It's the same purchasing power as 1995.
Yeah, but my wife knows how to make a dollar go, man. Like, when people think about purchasing power, I'm like, holy cow! Like, you really don't need as much as you think you do. But
yeah, and
but
I
still,
think we're gonna start seeing
though.
that. We're gonna start seeing that more and more. People who are dealing without a lot of luxuries, just because they want to have more stability. Like now, like you've got people who have like 7 streaming services and paying like $180 for streaming services. Just get cable, man. It's the same price.
Yeah.
It's one bill instead of 7 of them.
Actually, it's probably cheaper now.
Yeah, it probably is.
Because all those streaming services are like expensive.
But then it's like, do you need that many? Like, you're really in front of the TV that much? If you're in front of the TV that much, should you be in front of the TV that much? What are we prioritizing here? But you know, I think we're starting to see that more. Like, I'm an example of that. We don't watch TV. I take that back. We watch TV sometimes, right? Like I've been letting my kids watch Mandalorian today because I had to work, and my wife's out of town with my oldest daughter, right? But usually we don't watch TV. Like maybe one day a week we'll watch something. So that's not. But my kids read all the time, all the time. The only one that doesn't read is my 6-year-old daughter, but you know she can read Cat, Hat, Pat, and Jack, right? And she's almost there. But we also don't like do a bunch of vacations, mostly because we can't because we have a farm. But you know, when we do take vacations, it's usually very frugal. We don't buy new cars all the time. Like we just don't do the things my parents did. Just because they had a little extra money, they always try and plus up their livelihood. And we're seeing that more and more amongst people who are doing the same thing. And I think it's only going to help things by people stop prioritizing stupid stuff and having some extra money around for just in case times. Because we all went through COVID.
That helps not watching TV.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you don't see what the Joneses are doing,
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not comparing, which is, my biggest issue right now is social media. One, like I'm trying to keep track of like current events too much. And it, sometimes it can affect my attitude. Just like
they were for me. I stopped doing all that just because I can't control any of it. Like I have other things I need to control, and it gets you that anxiety.
Yep.
And you're like, and then you have to stop and go, well, wait, I have no say in this. What's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. It's a burden for a lot of times, and it doesn't need to be. It shouldn't be.
All
right. We got any questions before?
I think everybody went to bed except Ocean.
I know. Ocean's the only one. Ocean's our diehard, man.
Ocean just drank another Red Bull or something.
He hit a whole line of cocaine.
Yeah, I wish. So glad I didn't get into that, man. I could get so much shit done at home.
Yeah. Absolutely. I remember the one and only ever time that I smoked weed was I was like 20. It was before I joined the Marines. It was like 24.
Mhm.
And
Did you tell them
I got
at boot camp?
yeah. The
Oh,
one
did
and
you?
only, I told him. I told him, like, yeah, I smoked weed once.
We
But
saw a bunch of
man,
people
I
what
got
was that
so
called?
high.
Camp when you had to like tell the truth, Marines or recruits,
Yeah.
like, and then you never saw some of them again. Like,
Yeah. But I got so messed up off that weed. I was like 5 seconds behind in time. Right? Like I went to go play billiards with my brother because I used to play pool all the time. I used to be really good at pool. I haven't played in years though, but I remember like I would rack the balls and I wouldn't recognize I racked until like 8 seconds later. Like I would break and then it wouldn't even register in my brain for like 6, 7, 8 seconds later. And when I finally sobered up, I was like, there ain't no way in hell I'm ever doing that again. Like I should not be time dilating. This is crazy. And I never did. I never touched it again. I have no desire whatsoever.
I literally took one hit at lunchtime.
Yeah.
And I got so freaking paranoid and just like, this sucks. Like, why do you guys do this? This such crap.
Yeah. Yep. It ain't fun.
I guess Brendan Thompson asked, what if you and I get drafted? Or what if it's not your son? I think we kind of already. I mean,
if
I
it
would
drafted
go,
me, I mean, I initially wouldn't go. I'd make them come take me. I wouldn't go voluntarily.
Well, I would make him come take me, but yeah. I mean, I really would. I'd make him come take me, but I'd go. I mean, what are they going to? I don't know. What do you want? Some old, broken 51-year-old now to go?
And that's what like governments fail to realize is when you conscript someone, you draft someone, they are nowhere near as good as a volunteer.
Well, they proved that. Because I mean, they actually proved it in like
they actually become a liability.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you're having to draft, like that's the end of your nation. You're done. That's just not going to go well for you. So I mean, hopefully it never comes to that. But again, this is all conjecture. This is all like what ifs because we don't know what we'd actually do. Like, what if 5 years from now it happens? I'm 50, right? And
you're such a little
like I've got like something happened to all my kids. Well, I'm going, and I'm probably going to die over there because I have no desire to be around here without my kids anymore. But yeah, you just never know. But you have to be able to think through these things so it doesn't surprise you when it happens. Right. Like I, when I teach firearms, I tell guys all the time, like when you're sitting down in like a restaurant or a business, you need to constantly be aware of what's going on and running games, through your head of if some guy came over from over there, what would I do? Right. So that way, when it happens, you're like, oh, what do I do? Right. You need to be. And then once you get used to running these scenarios in your head, you don't need to think about it all the time because you're like, oh, this is very similar to a time I've already thought about. So I know what I would do here. Right. So you have to mentally prepare yourself to give you those mental reps on these situations before it ever happens. So you're much more prepared for it because you can actually respond quicker than being frozen because you don't know what to do.
Couple muscle memory.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we're going to call it. It's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. Thanks, Chris, for coming on.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for inviting me. This was a really good conversation.
Yeah. I thought, like I said, I thought you'd be a good conversation because we didn't see eye to eye on that. And that's fine. Like you don't hate me because I disagree with you, which is great. But it's good for guys to see like you can disagree and still like somebody. You don't have to. Just because someone disagrees doesn't mean you have to.
The world would suck if everyone agreed with you.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys.
Cool.
We're gonna get off here Tuesday. Avoiding Babylon. It'll be a Guns and Babylon show. Probably it's gonna be a joint show when we have Jason Craig on.
Nice.
So I'll see y'all on Tuesday. But so we won't not have a Guns N Rosary show next week since I'm filling in for Anthony on Tuesday.
Cool,
so we'll have it on the week after. Well, if something crazy happens next week, we might still have a show. But as of right now, hopefully nothing crazy happens.
But the
we'll see y'all
Spanish
next
Civil
week.
War is going to be on Thursday.
Yeah, man. It'll all be on X.
Yeah,
It'll be amazing.
cool.
All right,
man.
guys. Y'all take
Later,
care. We'll
guys.
see y'all next week.
Many men wish death upon me. Blood in my eye, dog, and I can't see. I'm trying to be